This is KMTV. We are broadcasting to you from Minnesota, the United States of America. It's a beautiful day to be back again on the phones, tablets, television to discuss issues about Liberia. It's a Diaspora Talk. My name is Nathan Charles, sitting in the presenter seat. My league presenter, Cyrus McGee, is not in, and our colleague Joanne Prowse. But we have with us our panelists, always consistent and persistent, reliable, durable. I want to give you all the adjectives. Mr. Jackson Josh, he's with us, yes, in studio. We'll be looking at several issues in Liberia. What is it we'll be looking at in Liberia? There are a lot of things that went on from yesterday that happened today. That include the guilty verdict of former Chief Justice Gloria Musu Scott and three other family members. We also be looking at that story. And on the flip side, also to honor the discussion, we'll be looking at President-elect Joseph Boga, his fight against corruption. He spoke with the Voice of America. And the executive pardon of inmates by President George Manuel Weah. Some of the names involved, what do you make? And no pay for civil servant. What is it like in Liberia? We'll be hearing from you and a look at the national budget as well. That is before the House of Representatives and Senators. And is it the worst festive season or the best season under the George Weah leadership? Hopefully, we'll talk to our judicial reporter in Liberia, Jackie Dennis, on the situation involving the guilty verdict of former Chief Justice Gloria Musu Scott. Jackson Josh, welcome to the Diaspora Talk. And I see you sipping some tea this morning.
Yeah, Nathan, thank you. I stay on Buduburum for a while too. So this is my Buduburum Cup when they had the 2018 annual convention. Buduburum, all those who were on Buduburum. So I keep it. It's a memory. I stayed 2 years on Buduburum in Ghana. So yeah, but it's a good day. It's cold here. Thank God, Minnesota, we don't have snow on the ground yet, as compared to other states. I think global warming is serious, but we're benefiting from the global warming. So I'm not gonna.
I see you zipping, you still zipping more tea, Mr. Jackson Josh.
It's coffee, my man. If I don't do coffee, I can't my day. I think I'm addicted to coffee, so I have to drink coffee every day. I don't know why I'm addicted, but I think it's from a couple of years ago. I started drinking coffee when I was in working, um, and it was at the guest because it was free coffee. So now I have to buy it. So it was my company. The company I used to work for have a lot of coffee, so I used to drink a lot. But yeah, Nathan, how's your day going?
It's a beautiful time. As you see, we are getting ready for Christmas.
Yeah,
KMTV, we will be
I
reaching
see all
out
the
to,
Christmas thing behind you. How much for that stuff behind you?
well, we want to look at down people.
Yeah, well, but we gotta negotiate now. They think,
Yes, these are hoodies, t-shirts, sweaters, Christmas. And you see, oh, Christmas, and it's roughly 20
my Christmas on you.
$20, $20,
But why you
25.
then put a hole behind it? Christmas on you, hole.
Yeah, you know, when it's part of my Christmas on you, we have varieties of
Yeah,
them.
but the way you put it there, it's not like the Liberian way. It gotta be my Christmas on you, hole.
Oh, Christmas. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got no. My Christmas on you. We have another one. Yeah, my
Yeah,
Christmas
but I
on
see that.
you.
But
Oh,
it
the
then
whole
still
in there.
that hole behind it, Christmas on you, hole. Then it's the
Okay.
Liberian way.
Yes. So let's move straight into our discussion here. We hope to join our judicial reporter Jackie Dennis from Liberia on the phone, and we'll be looking at the issues about this Gloria Mususcat verdict. Uh, Jurors rendered a guilty verdict against the former Chief Justice, uh, holding her liable of the death of Charlotte Musu. And what is has been the situation like in Liberia? We've been hearing from all sides in the story. Some of the counselors or lawyer representing the former Chief Justice including Francis Johnson Addison, has been speaking to the media after the verdict was passed in Liberia. Let's hear from Francis Johnson Addison. Nathaniel Toll, a spokesman of the Gloria Scott family and the County Attorney of Montserrat County. We'll be also hearing from him too as well. When we come back, we'll talk to Jackie Dennis to give us more highlights of what the verdict means, meaning 11 persons, jurors agree, and 1 person abstained. Let's play these clips.
At the conduct of the jurors, throughout the trial, the jurors were not interested in the evidence and the facts. But the fact that they did not even have no pride to take notes of important, facts. They were there to me, their minds were already made up. They have been instructed as to what to do. So can you imagine over 5 months to be on this case? And somebody go to deliberate on a verdict, and in less than 30 minutes to come out. It's obvious. It is obvious that these people were already, their minds were already made up. They were already programmed to do what they did.
So what are you smelling? Was it bribed?
Well, it's very possible. It's very possible. But like I said, that's not the end. We want to be filing a motion for new trial after the verdict is confirmed by the court. We'll be filing a motion for new trial. And after that, we'll go take the matter up to the Supreme Court.
What's your belief in the Supreme Court?
I believe those are legal minds are sitting up there. They are not your jurors who are, lay people. I'm convinced that verdict will not stand before them. It will not be sustained.
Your Honor, do you believe that the juror was tampered with?
The jurors in fact, we reported to the court that the Solicitor General had tried to infiltrate the jurors. We brought that to the court's attention. Some investigation was conducted, and he said, he was trying, but he did not. So how sure we did not finally succeed in infiltrating the jurors and tampering with them? I'm convinced that they were tampered with. I'm convinced. That evidence, you don't have to be a lawyer to know all the inconsistencies in the evidence. Don't put it on there. You take one note, and after 5 when you go in the play, less than 30 minutes, you are out. That means you were already programmed. Your minds were already made up as to how you are going to come out. So it's disappointing, But this is what poverty does. This is what poverty does. In our country, when people are poor, they don't have any kind of serious economic means to survive, so they will do this. So the rule of law is at stake because of poverty.
Reduce that office to that process. Why did the Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia reduce himself to a process for incognitally overnight sneaking into the building?
Says that he said he stopped sitting on the case.
Look, it's clear. Are you look? Go ask. Is it the same officer that were behind the juror? Is it the same officer that stayed there? Do your own investigation. The officer who suspected him they did the routine, they removed him. You generally go through your own investigation. Are you
disappointed?
I'm not disappointed. I know the process was criminalized. I know instead of justice, we got injustice. I know instead of justice, we got injustice.
Why if you get a civil trial, the Supreme Court?
Let's go to the Supreme Court. We'll take the system. From the Supreme Court, we'll still go to Edwards Court. We will go to Edwards Court. We will go to Edwards Court because the process was criminalized.
Are you prepared to go to Edwards Court?
No, the process was clear. We're not going to compromise it. If anybody dreamed that they will allow the killers to be outside, if they will allow the killers to be outside, you know the killers. It is the Gloria and other innocent.
Do you know the killers?
They found that the Solicitor General decided to bribe in the process and leave your manufacturing.
He was not caught.
Why was he removed from the process? Have you asked yourself? Why is the chief prosecutor asked to leave the process? Have you asked yourself?
He was removed because he went around the place they were staying.
Why did he go there?
Okay,
why would he reduce himself to basically? Look, why would he reduce himself to that? Why would the Solicitor General reduce himself to that?
Sir, for Korea running premises is why.
Why would he reduce it? Why would he reduce himself to that?
You know that.
Why would he reduce himself to that? Have you investigated whether it was the same officer the same officer who reported him? They said the same officers that are there today, but they didn't remove the officer.
Argument. That's why I told the jurors, I said, they are attempting to disrespect you. The mere fact that the Solicitor General, based on an understanding, were removed from the case, didn't mean jury tampering. The court did not establish any jury tampering. So I think that was very insulting to the jurors too. You know, there is no evidence that we, as a matter of fact, when that case started, I was suspended as a client.
Somebody will say you were buying sentiment from the jurors.
Well, it's the evidence that they saw and the defendant's own testimony, own information that they brought. The evidence we provided against them, they didn't contact them. They were not able to convince the jurors that indeed an intruder went into the house and committed the act, because the jury went in there. And once you enter in there, you will know the truth. That's what happened. Nothing else but the truth. It is just the truth that is being exposed. That indeed the act was committed by the defendants jointly and severally.
The defense is electing to seek redress at the Supreme Court.
Obviously, they will have to.
How prepare you?
Well, prepared the same way down there. The records are there. It's just a matter of going to defend what you did here. So it's a five-man show over there. Here it was one.
And earlier you heard one of the counselor lawyers there for Gloria Musu Scott, Francis Johnson Addison, and the spokesperson of the family, Nathaniel too. Jackson George, what's your own reaction? And we'll be joined by Jackie Dennis, our judicial reporter, hopefully. Go ahead, Mr. George. What do you make of this verdict case?
Nathan, I think I followed the case for a while. First of all, it is sad that Musu had to die like that. Our justice system, we need to strengthen our justice system. The jurors made a decision. The question that baffles my mind will be, why would she want to kill her own child? The intent. I don't know if the intent has been established. I mean, if the court found them guilty, what bothers me is why would she want? Why four of them we conspired to want to kill a relative in that nature? There were so many other ways could be used, but why in that faction? I mean, how terrible was she that a full family member would want to kill her like that? So I think establishing the intent for me would be something that I want to really find out. I hear the lawyer talking about the entry into the home. There can be entry into a home without breakage, without forcing your way into a home, depending on how long or what the process is. We see that here in America all the time. That people who can break into people's home with no force, without forcefully entering into people's homes. I think I'm worried more about the intent. Why would four persons in a home kill a little child or a young lady of that nature with that kind of anger and something? So, they have the chance to appeal. We also have a legal system, and sometimes you could be right in the eyes of the court. You could be wrong, depending on how you present your case and who the lawyers that you have. We saw that here with the O.J. Simpson case. Sometimes on technicality. So the legal system can be messy. But for me, I don't know if those four people that are accused and convicted, I don't see why. I'm still worried about the intent. If they can establish the intent, why they would be so angry to use the kind of a deadly force they use on their own family member, especially a young and promising young woman. That would be something I want to see, Nathan.
That would be something you want to see, Jackson Josh. We're trying to get contact with our judicial reporter, Jackie Davis from Monrovia. Jackie, if you are hearing us, hello, tell us what the verdict means for the Gloria Mususcat family and the government of Liberia.
Okay, thank you for having me on the show today. The verdict for the former Chief Justice, which means she will be behind bar because murder is a life imprisonment. So she will be behind bar. And yesterday, after the verdict, the lawyer representing the former Chief Justice said they will take an appeal to the Supreme Court. So that will be done hopefully by next year in March when the court opens.
Mr. Josh had a question for you. Go ahead, Mr. Josh.
But my question is, were they able to establish the intent for which the four accused? Were they able to establish the intent for which the four convicted?
Hello?
Okay, so he's asking, were they able to establish the intent for which the four people found guilty committed the act, the jurors?
They are judges of the fact. So they look at the evidence and then came out with their verdict. But yesterday, argument and from the defense, they said all of the prosecution witnesses, because prosecution produced 18 witnesses, likewise the defense. But all of the 18 witnesses did not link the former Chief Justice along with her relative to the crime. And all of their witnesses, when they were placed on the cross by the defense asked them if they knew who killed the late child. But all of them, I sat in that court listening to all of their testimony. All of them said that they didn't know who killed the late child. So coming up with this Friday, and there are a lot of doubts. I think you listening to the aggrieved member yesterday, where after the Friday they said they knew that it was going to be a guilty Friday because there were jury temporary. The Solicitor General were accused of jury temporary, so they were expecting that Friday. Yeah.
So 11 how many jurors came down with a guilty verdict, and what that verdict means?
11 and there were 12 men jurors that entered their room for deliberation, and 11 came down with a guilty verdict, and one came down with non-guilty verdict. And so once 11 came down with a guilty verdict, so which means she is guilty. Yes.
So the question here is, can you clarify if one person voted against?
So if one person voted against, what that verdict means?
Yeah, in our system, I think we need.
Yeah, okay. If one person voted against, that juror, she was not certified or he was not certified because she or he with the evidence, and then you see that there was no reason to link any of the defendant or to find the defendants guilty.
So in short,
they were going to be maybe six, and they were going to be a hung verdict, but almost all of them came down with a guilty verdict. So once the judges of the fact are spoken to, so the only thing the judge will do now is to give his final judgment.
Jackson, I think she can hear you now. I was
So
able to get.
my question is, if it is not unanimous, right? Uh, like here, I think it has to be unanimous. If one person voted against, it goes back to retrial. Is our law different from that? Do they need like five or six to vote against before, or if one person, why would that one person see things differently, and why is not a unanimous verdict? That's my question.
He said, "Why is it not a unanimous verdict with one person abstain?" Right? That was the
No,
question.
they voted against, not abstain.
I mean, voted against.
So maybe our laws are different. The way our laws are set up is a little different from the United States, where it has to be unanimous. Do you aim on River again, Charles? I mean, Cyrus?
I'm coming to you from the other side.
You got a lot of money, though. You just flying like that every week. You're in Liberia. KMTV got their own jet now.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Nathan, why you can't fly too, my man?
I got scared of the air.
I know. The first time he came from Liberia, he never went back to Liberia.
No,
anyway, Nathan, they got ship, they got Kino,
Thanks, Jackie, for the time of bringing us up to speed with the guilty verdict against former Chief Justice Gloria Mususka. Have yourself a wonderful time from Monrovia. Are you happy for the holiday?
But Nathan, we are not here. I don't know whether Jackson is hearing her, but I'm not hearing her.
I'm not hearing her, Princess.
She's
not on. You just should have kept it with the speaker sign or so.
Oh, okay. Thanks so much. We'll be getting to you on another incident. Have yourself a wonderful day. Cyrus just joined us from somewhere in Minnesota and sitting on top of Monrovia. Cyrus, you've been reading through the verdict. What do you make of the guilty verdict against the Chief Justice, former?
Well, Nathan, like Jackie put it, she's the one who sat in the courtroom, watched the argument, basically from both the prosecution. Prosecution had to prove to the public why they think that Madame Gloria Musu and her family members committed the murder. And like Justin, you were asking a very key question, because the question here is, were the jurors able to, find the intent or reason why these people will murder their own family member, especially when it happened in the home of the former Chief Justice. So they are close with the responsibility to look at both sides of the arguments. I'm sure the prosecution, they put forth their own evidence, their witnesses, and all of that. Defense did same. The defense were charged with the responsibility to prove why their clients, were not guilty of the crimes they've been charged. But after a period of time, Madam Scott and her family members been behind bars at the Monrovia Central Precinct to and from court. The court had to do its work, and the jurors went to work, and in their own wisdom, they found her guilty. And there are a lot of public outcry out there, but that's the work of the jury. Once they come up with that, that's why the court will always give you the opportunity. Do you want a jury trial? Do you want a bench trial, where the judge will be the judge and jury, where he or she will listen, and based on his own legal understanding and the evidence put forth, the judge will decide. But on the other hand, I'm sure the defendants did choose a jury trial, and they are getting this. And I covered the courtroom for a long time, Jackson. So that one thing that I'm still trying to grasp as it relates to our law is the issue of the hung verdict, especially when one of the jurors will say no. All of the evidence that were adduced in court, probably it don't convince me anyway to think that they are guilty. I'll need to read a little more about that, and probably we can throw it out to some of the legal luminaries out there to explain that. but I believe it is within the confines of the law that the prosecution do have, I mean, the defense do have the chance by law to go one step further. That is before the Supreme Court, whether it's the full bench of the Supreme Court. That is another long haul indeed, because if they had not announced, that they were moving on to the Supreme Court, the we were going to be talking about the next thing that judge will be doing will be sentencing. But now that they took advantage of the law to go before the Supreme Court full bench, it's another twist. It will take a couple of months. As you know, it's the holiday season. The court is I think closing. They might not be open until March term of court, or so it's another long period that they're going to be sitting behind bars there at Moreover Central Prison, and now waiting for the Supreme Court in their wisdom to see. So there are two things that are going to happen at this level. Either the Supreme Court will uphold the ruling of the lower courts based on the evidence that were adduced and is in the minds of the members of the bench of the Supreme Court. They will have to now look at the evidence, see whether there was a misstep, whether some procedures were not followed. Prosecution will have to argue before them that XYZ procedures were not followed. I mean, were followed, and the defense will have to argue as well and say, based on XYZ reasons, we think the right procedures were not followed. So it will be a long twist. The Supreme Court will have to listen. I believe it will take another term of court. But based on the status of the person involved, she's former Chief Justice, former Justice Minister, former Senator. Probably they will want to fast track, making sure that they can find a closure, especially laying the hats of the deceased down, because it is somebody's child, who's in this. Apart from that, she's a Liberian. No Liberian, no young person should be, I mean, losing their lives to the hands of evil people. So I believe we should give the court the chance to come up with what they believe now is before the highest court now land. We believe that way there will be a full closure to this entire case.
Jackson, Jackson, what do you have to say concerning that?
Well, like I say, it's unfortunate for me, again, the gruesome way in which this child was killed. Uh, it baffles me. I'm not a lawyer. Just looking at it from a layman point of view, again, I really want to know the intent. And if they establish the intent for which this child was gruesomely murdered by full family members, then I will, I can make an informed decision. But uh, whether it is true or not, I'm still baffled as to is that really true. Now, if they were saying that conspiracy to hide some information, maybe that everybody's charging them with the murder, and that's where I find it a little bit, not that it's not impossible, but if you were to put it on a scale, I would give it 99.9% would be difficult to do at that rate. I mean, there's so many different ways to kill a cat. You don't have to do it like that. They didn't have to if it were them. But again, you never know. So that way I am. I still want to see why they would do that, and sometimes it's hard to establish that, but that's where I am. It is unfortunate. One of the things we need to do now from this case is to strengthen our justice system. I'm hoping that, again, the new administration coming in will pump enough money into the system. We have a systemic problem. One of the former Chief Justice talked about poverty as a disease. Justice for the rich might be different from justice for the poor. And so if we can work on, as a people, strengthening our justice system, making sure we take away corruption from our justice system, maybe our population will see justice from a different point of view.
Our
And
population.
and I think where we see a lot of outcry is the events leading up to this verdict. We saw they accused the county attorney, who's one of the lead prosecutors, I believe. It was the county attorney, where Nathan,
The
who was
solicitor
accused. The solicitor general was accused of attempting to evade the privacy of the jurors, because they with the once it's a jury trial, they are circumscribed. They cannot get out. Nobody can have access to them except maybe court security. They don't have access to the public at all until after this case is closed. So with that allegation, a lot of people felt that the jury were probably temper with or attempt to temper with the jury, whether it happened or not. We know that he got some fines and all of that. So these are some of the things. When these things start to happen, then the public will start to wonder whether there's a fair justice system, whether somebody's not trying to twist the arms of the jurors, and all of that. And I can remember when I covered the trial involving the treason trial involving the late Charles Jewell, Andrew Double, and others. I can remember the judge disbanded the entire jury, you know, on grounds that there was something fishy that was going on, and he disbanded the entire jury. There was a whole new jury selection taking place just to make sure that there was a free and fair trial. So when these things start to happen, there will be huge public outcry. People would think that it's already in the public domain that it's a witch hunt against the former chief justice. Why will somebody want to do that is another big question. But all of these things, when they start to happen, Nathan, people will start to wonder whether the best remedy will form as it relates to securing the jurors and that people not having access to them.
And she also said, Councillor Addison also said in her interview, she said, and I read, she said there were too many inconsistencies from the prosecution were sufficient enough to prove that Councillor Scott, and three others should not be held guilty for the crime of murder, criminal conspiracy, and false alarm to law enforcement officer. These are some of the things she said, and she also made mention, like you said, on how quick the jurors, decided the case. She said their minds were made up, and not one of them held a pen to write down important information. They would not have cell phones, so probably they was retaining all of the information over close to 6 months for a case to be running, and for a juror to come on 30 minutes to make a decision. She believed that it was temporary. She said the issue of poverty. When people temper, when you get you $200-300, you just making $45 maybe per month, and you have that a case. It is indeed. And I noticed when I was in Liberia, I attempted a few times to go to the court to see how the juror process, was being, carried out. And it's just ordinary people who live in Montreal County. You take the stand, they ask you a few questions, cross-examine you. I remember I followed the case with Simeon Freeman when he was elected. He sued the New Democrat newspaper at that time. I witnessed that entire case and other cases like that. So indeed, because both parties have to agree and be satisfied with the jurors after cross-examination, adapt them into looking at the case. So indeed, that's the verdict of former Chief Justice. She's guilty. And let's move over to the next issue here. President George Weah pardoned several prisoners, including Brani Samuka, former defense minister. And he waived millions of dollars that Brani Samuka should have brought back to the government. You've been reading the story on these convicts. What do you make of it? What's your own reaction? Jackson.
Well, I think it's the prerogative of the president to pardon people. That's what our constitution provides for. The question will be the list of the individuals that were pardoned. Were the list made public? Is it a public information that people will look at? Were all these cases reviewed? Again, there are people who are gathering information and selecting these individuals to have the president pardon. And was it a good review that was done? Remember, even though it's his prerogative, but other people are hurt in the process. So sometimes it is done in ways that don't hurt. Just take, for instance, somebody murdered someone and now that person is free. The families will also be hurt. But again, it's the prerogative of the president to pardon people, but the process must be transparent. They must have a good reason for which the president is granting these people a pardon. And so I like to see the listing and the crimes that these people committed. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. The president has the right to do that.
President Cyrus, what do you make of the pardon?
Well, Well, this is something that happen every, you see this maybe once or twice a year on our laws. It is the rise of the president. I cover the presidency. There were several years that we went to the Maruria Central Prison where Madame Sirleaf, pardon people, whether it was during the Christmas season, whether it was during the Independence Day, but mostly during the Christmas season. That's when you see the president would visit the prison compound, in keeping with the laws. It is the right or the responsibility of the president to pardon people, and there are steps that are taken. Mr. George, I think you say you want they won't just give you the names of those people. I think we're hearing about Brandon Samukar and the two other former defense officials, because they were top officials of government. So if their names have been cleared, it will make a huge news indeed. But often at times, except you maybe attended that program where they were released, or you watch the video on cam, sometimes they will not even want you to show those images, because there are processes that are followed, and it has to be, number one, you have to have good moral character wise serving. Like we say here in the US, you have to serve with dignity, and you are, like, before they grant you parole, there are some things that you have to show. So those processes are followed. The justice minister is requested by the president. Who are those that have had good behaviors over the years? you know what can we do? And it goes back to the prison superintendent to look at their prison records to see what they've been doing over there. Whether they feel that, they are convinced enough that these people can be reintegrated into our society. Some of the people, Jackson, you see are behind bars for stealing chicken, for instance, for some minor crimes. Most of them are on that list, because as our typical Liberian habit, I just want to throw Jackson behind bar. I just want jail, man. Sometimes people are in jail for just common things. Some people are in jail, they're being lied on. Some people, they're there for the just cause. People get thrown behind bars. There are a lot of people over there, or even pre-trial, hearing. There are people there for years. They have not heard their case. And by law, if the person maybe went to jail for theft, and they have not had time to see a judge, uh, maybe that the penalty for that crime is a year in jail or 3 months in jail. Some of them stay behind bars for years. So these are some of the cases, and there are some high profile cases. I can remember there was one time. I don't know whether you remember the case of those Grenjidans that were in
The
jail.
missionaries,
Yeah,
the missionaries,
who they say reportedly came from Ivory Coast.
Aricos, yeah.
They were jailed during the time of Madame Sirleaf, and I was at the Central Prison covering the president. When she went there after the huge public outcry, the Grenjidans were out. They went to jail. The people went. Some, I think, they were convicted at some time, but in her wisdom, the president felt that they should be pardoned. So I think this is what's happening. But
I think I think
mhm,
where I'm worried about, let's take for instance, if somebody murder someone, right? They
mhm.
were put in jail, and the families, they are outside, and the family is still afraid that this person is a danger to them. In the process, and do they contact the families and inform the family that this person is outside, or what is the process? I think that's my point, so that this family is aware that this person is outside of jail. Do they
Well,
do?
I believe the justice system deals with that at different levels,
Okay.
But it
But
is the
I don't think it's the prerogative of the justice system
yeah.
again, because once the president grant
Yeah.
that, they are only there
No, I'm
to
talking about
hold
prior
and
to prior to
rehabilitate.
that, before the person name is put on a list for release. Then the question is there a process in place to ensure that that happen? Let's take for instance a sex offender. Let's say if a sex offender is also free, is that is the community in which the sex offender is free, that community is aware, so that that act doesn't happen again.
We don't,
That's
we don't waste the time. We don't have that. We just
For that you would not see that. I know that, like I said, there are processes. So maybe behind the scenes, some of those things happen. That family member will know when this person is out. And I've seen point in case, in time where people feel that, oh, this person was released. They was released because of this. But sometimes you don't know whether they were on the list of the presidential pardons, and
correct.
the president goes ahead and just decide based on the recommendation of the justice ministry, because, as you know, the justice minister is the chief advisor on legal affairs to the president. So they will follow that process of the prison compound, the justice system, and see whether this person meets the benchmark of getting pardoned before they submit that list to the office of the
And you
president.
know, the question, another way of looking at it is that we, the people, we have representatives and senators. The laws can be amended, processes can be put in place. So we are all contributing factor to that, to giving the president that power. So why it is done by the president is not in isolation from the population. So we make the laws. We elect the people into the House and Senate. They make the laws, and so the president is only executing the law based on his own judgment. So I wouldn't dwell much on that, even though some of the people released might not be people that should be outside. Again, we don't know what was presented to the president and why he chose to make those decision. So it's the prerogative of the president to do that, and that's our constitution. It's a constitutional thing.
And I think the what makes this a big one is the issue of Brian Samuka and those convicted defense officials. Of late, I think it was during the campaign, the heat of the campaign, when Samuka visited the church of President Weah. It was a huge thing. The Unity Party saw it differently, as if to say he was being captured. Other people think that he was giving support to President Weah. And when I listened to him, he clearly said that the president was magnanimous enough to even not have him behind bars because of the crimes that he was convicted of. So he had gone to seek pardon from the president. So these are some of the things. Even though you out there, what are some of the things that you're doing? So he worked his way through that, and I see today that's why he's on our list. And a lot of people feel that he's being paid back because he sought pardon from the president. So
I understood that there was a couple of millions that were waived. The question is, those soldiers, if it was true, so those people who funds were raised with, is the government going to pay back the funds? I mean, or it's just going in thin air?
No, I think they corrected that situation along on the Sheriff regime. Yeah, they corrected that situation. So I think the government, there's a special fund. It was some money paid back into the consolidated account. Okay, let's move over to this trending story here from incoming President-elect Joseph Boyka, who has promised to battle corruption. Our government will come and say, hey, I will fight corruption. In a VOA interview, Joseph Boyka, the man who is paused to run the affairs of Liberia for the next 6 years, spoke with the VOA, the Voice of America. He's currently in the United States of America. Let's listen to Joseph Boyka talking about how he himself will declare his assets in battle corruption and would not take sides with family members or best friends.
Start by making sure those people that we bring to cabinet are people of integrity. And secondly, want to make sure that even beginning with myself, we'll declare our assets and want to make sure that this is well known, the purpose of coming to government, to know that it's public service. And if you are not ready to serve the public, you can go elsewhere. But we want to make sure that we start on a clear note that the people of our country stood on line, they protected the votes, not to bring a team again that will do the same thing that other people are doing or worse. So it's a clear message. Declare your asset. Make sure that we are prepared to audit the outgoing government so that they tell the Liberian people of their stewardship, and to make sure that we start on a footing where people know that they come to serve the public and not themselves. If they don't understand that, they actually fall where it may.
Mr. President-elect, you talked about asset declaration starting from yourself and the people who work with you, as well as the outgoing administration. how do you plan to avoid the semblance of targeting people? Because some people will say these are politically motivated to tarnish their reputation or to go against them, people from certain tribes or specific parts of the country. How do you plan to avoid this?
We are aware of that. And when we talk about auditing, it's not going to be a Liberian auditing. We want to make sure that our international partners work with us for a public tender, for competent and renowned auditing firm that will be qualified at an international level to make sure they come on board to do that. We are aware of people saying witch hunting, but I don't think it's witch hunting when you have to account for your stewardship, but it has to be done in a way that is well established, entity with reputation to make sure that it audits and make sure that it
You listened there to President-elect Joseph Imam Bogat speaking about accounting for your stewardship. He also said, hey, assets declaration, the issue of fighting corruption, and people who come to public service must know that they are here to serve the public. Let's go with the first issue of assets declaration. Under 2 minutes, what do you make of assets declaration? We'll listen to the LACC, Library Anti-Corruption. They said roughly about 100 persons in government have so far declared their assets in terms of outgoing, because you have to declare your assets in and out. So far, only 100%. Even the legislature or the people who are coming in, they are calling on people to declare their assets. How important is assets declaration for our new government? Let's start with you, Cyrus.
Well, let's rule out the legislature when it comes to that, because these are people who've sat on Capitol Hills. I can tell when last in my own memory that the legislature even accepted or went through what we call audit. There is no record of audits of the millions, if not billions of dollars they've eaten over the last years or so since 2005. I don't know there is any record of an audit. Maybe Jackson, you maybe you've heard of that before, but so I don't expect these people to even tell us where they're leaving off. I think this boils mainly on the executive, because a lot of people look at the appointing power of the president. You know, you are appointed by the president by law. The Anti-Corruption Commission should accept your assets declaration before entering office, and an asset declaration as well as you are leaving office. So that's where they are tied into. And with the many appointments, I don't know whether or not everyone going to adhere to that. Another thing that is funny, the law says declare your assets to the LSCC. When will we get to the point that how many people will have the guts enough to stand up and say, let's amend this law? Because a lot of people been hiding behind the law calls for asset declaration but not publishing, right? I think you've heard that on countless number of occasions when these officials are pressed to the wall about their assets. Because if you just declare your asset, the public don't know what you brought to government. You leave it and also declare, the public don't know what you've declared to the LDCC. In my thinking, I think it's just a waste of time, because the commission is not telling people that Jackson George came to government with maybe the $3 that DeLone had in his covers, and now Jackson is leaving. He's leaving with 10 houses, 5 cars, and all of that. Do this commensurate with what he was making as an official of government. Your salary, can your salary give you all of the houses that you now own? Or some of these people are just taking resources or properties and putting it in other people's names or in the names of their children, undercover. We don't know. So until we can get to the point where, people assets are declared and is made public, that people know what you come into government with. And we also know what you're making as an official of government. So 5 years or 6 years after, when we see this official is going out, still in luxurious lifestyle, you have homes all around the place, maybe I mean that you yourself know that while serving, what you made as a pay, be it your salary, your allowances, or whatever the DSA, it will not help you or enable you build those properties or acquire those wealth that you now have, then it's questionable. But until we can get to the point where people coming into government, assets are declared and made public, when they are leaving, we have an asset declaration made public that we can compare and contrast, what you own over the period and what you are leaving with. I think it's just a little surety. People will just go, declare my asset, and it will be the same thing back and forth. So I listened to incoming President Barker. I know Ambassador Barker is a man of principles. He's somebody that you cannot easily you don't know his next move. I will put it that way. The two times Barker ran for president, it took forever before people got to know his running mate. He's somebody who keeps things so tight. So based on these, steps that he would take in the stage of his government, we will get to know whether the Barker's-led administration will be serious in the fight against corruption, and it starts on day one with your appointed official declaring their asset. And I hope that the incoming president, incoming leadership can go another step further. Declare your asset and make it public. Let the people get to know what you're coming with.
Jackson, on the issue of assets declaration.
I think it's very important, and the fact that the incoming president can say he will start with himself, and like Sarah said, just declaring your asset behind the scene is not enough. I think it takes leadership. If the president elect says anybody working for my government asset will be published, I think it would be a good beginning, because at the end of the day, when you're exiting, we want to know what you came in with and what you're leaving with. I watched the whole interview last night. I think from my lifetime, we've had presidents who've said things, but last night I saw empathy within this president-elect. He talked about a whole range of things. He talked about integrity, bringing people in government with integrity. And one thing he said that touched me as well was the fact that if you don't want to be a public servant, then find something else. As I was driving to work today, I was having a conversation with a friend, and he said some people leaving from the United States and going home want different pay as compared to the people that are on the ground.
Like you're on an S-Pac.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, I can understand from the business point of view, but people who are coming from the United States and going home should understand this is they will be making some sacrifices. The pay that is on the ground is what you're going to have. And he says some of them are not even making $15,000 a month, and they're asking for $15,000 home. So I think public service, if we can get our officials of government to understand that they are public servant and they are sacrificing. If you want to make real good money, you go into the private sector. That's where you make real good money. But it is the reverse. In our term, people have come to government to amass wealth that they would never amass in the private sector. And so it has affected us. So I think it's a good thing. Sarah said it right. We want to be sure that it's not just declaring your asset behind the scenes, but we want to declare it in public so that the public knows what you came in with, and when you're leaving, the public need to know. Having said that, we need to strengthen our institutions as well, because some of them will funnel the money into the children's name and into different things that you may still not see at the end of the day. So there has to be an anti-corruption committee set up that will really strengthen that committee or institution to go after.
There is already a commission
to go after, but it has to be strengthened and let it work independently to go after people who are caught in corrupt acts.
Joseph Human Barker, President-elect, also said the issue of account for stewardship.
That's a key line there, because like Jackson put it earlier on, if you want to pack your bag and go to Liberia after January 22nd and go seek appointed a position, know that if a minister is making $5,000, $7,000 per law, that's what you're going to be making. So if you think that can sustain you as a minister or director or deputy minister in Liberia and still help you pay your mortgage here in America, then that's why Omen Barker says you must find something else to do. Because if you are fallen into corruption, the axe will fall on you. So people need to account for their stewardship. And like the team of Councillor Gunglo do the campaign, government is the place to serve, not to steal. So know that if you are making $3,000, $5,000, your take home after tax and all of that, that's what you are going to make. Let people get to know that the kind of money that is being thrown around or that have been thrown around over the years will need to stop. Those monies can be placed into our educational system. We saw even during the Salif time when people were recruited from America and taken to Liberia as consultants. That was the newest position in Liberia, consultant. What are you consulting about? Some consultants were making even more than a deputy or assistant minister. You can somebody from here and say, I'm making you consultant and you're making $10,000, $12,000, while by law even a minister's salary I believe is around $5,000, $7,000. So that's something that will need to be cleaned up. People need to be paid for what they do. The police officers we see on the street, they do their work. They need to get paid for what they do. You, as a minister, should get paid for what you do. Gone should be the days where ministers will like their offices and know that maybe President Boycott is going to this program. All of the ministerial vehicles are in line behind the president, even if their ministry or agency has nothing to do with that particular program that he's going to attend. Why you have a lot of people sitting at your office with documents for you to sign. That's one of the major reasons why starting business in Liberia is hard. When will you get your papers through the LRA? When the LRA boss is behind the president going to dedicate a rural project that I think the Public Works Ministry, and rural development should be taking care of. Why would the finance minister leave his office and is behind the president when the president is going to do fishery business?
Correct.
Or going to attend a fishery program. There are some programs that these officials of government go to. It makes no sense because it's not your line. And what are you going just to go and show up to tell the president that Mr. President, I'm working or to help sing battle cry? No, the public needs you. How many times you see Mary Broad out there behind the president, except probably she's on a special presidential committee that is doing something and she's out there making sure that it works. Mary Broad, right now you go to GSA. In fact, Mary Broad's office is sitting right in the compound. You open the gate, you see Mary Broad sitting in her office on the 10th. We will have to do those things, and it will take leadership to do it. Ministers cannot come to work 10 o'clock, and because you're running to work that hour, you're using the opposite lane.
Correct.
What are you telling the people?
And I think on this show I have talked about public servants, and if you went to Liberia and see how government officials behave, you will wonder whether we the people are paying them, or they think they are doing us favor. Everybody follow the president wherever the president goes. Like you say, at what point are you doing your job? At what point are you actually working? Some of these ministers don't even know the guy who cleaning the office name. They don't even call people by their names who are in the ministry, because they don't spend enough time in the ministry to understand all of these things. They lead the work with a deputy minister and run behind the president all day long. And so we have to change our mindset. One of the other things that the incoming president said that touched me, he talked about the healthcare system. He said, you build a building and you say it's a clinic or a hospital. No, even the people who care for the patient need to be cared for too. So the empathy within the incoming president touched me a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing the implementation of his mindset and the tune that he's coming with. We tell people who are running for government jobs and other things, look, if you're intent, if you know you live in the diaspora, and you got mortgage and you got card note and you got all of these things that you know that your salary will not cover here, then stay here and do your work. But if you're going home to get involved into amassing wealth and taking away from the least among us, then I think this president is not joking with what he says. And as I think listening to him and looking into his eyes, for me, at my age, this is the first time I have looked into the president's eyes on TV and look at it and think that this president is saying the right thing and he means what he says. So for all of us who want to come home and do things from the diaspora, settle yourself here well, Make sure that you give up all of your asset here that you don't need to take care of, so that when you go home, you're making sacrifice to Mother Liberia. And secondly, when you get home, know that you're a public servant. Stop acting, people can't see you, you're too busy, you're taking the tail lane, we don't respect police officers, we insult these people. We have to change as a people. It is very terrible. So just watching the president-elect last night, and listening to some of the things that he said, how to tackle corruption and how to build institutions, how to strengthen institutions, I think I'm happy. It is time for all of us to start going home to help develop this country.
And not deciding what we should be paid. So it remind me of one official that was in the Johnson Sirleaf government. I cannot just get the name, but I think Nathan, you always used to listen, we always used to have that joke. I left my lucrative job in America to come
Yeah, pro bono. Eugene
to
Shanna
come and
started
help.
with
You
that.
just China. I
Lands
left
and
my lucrative
mines.
job to come and help, but yet and still you're making 10, 15,000 as a minister. And still there was nothing happening in your sector. People were still crying. Lands and mines. People were doing illegal mining. People were doing their own thing. You were there as minister. What did you do? So, like you said, Jackson, people will need to know that if I'm going to the broadcast administration, I should go with the mindset that this president is coming with. And I will still put it at the feet of the leader, because if Mr. Braga wakes up in the morning and think he should be to work at 10 o'clock, his ministers and officials will be to work at 10 o'clock as well. If you'll see the presidential convoy is leaving his home at 8 o'clock, and he's at work in the office at 9 and leaving 10 o'clock in the night, ministers will stay in the offices to know that there are things that need to be done for the Liberian people. It comes with leading by example. So I was happy to hear him say, I will declare my asset. I will be the first to take the lead to do it. And I'm sure, I'm sure, and I'm hoping that when his asset gets declared, people will see what he's coming with, and that will set the pace for his officials to also follow same. Like I said, former Vice President Baraka, now President-elect, is unpredictable. You will not see his next move. So people coming, the expectations are so high. I see a lot of people who feel that because you ran the campaign of the incoming government, you should have a seat at the table. But what are you bringing to that seat at the table?
But
What
Nathan,
mindset are you
one
coming
other
with?
thing that a lot of us in the diaspora are looking at as well. There are people who are going to school here, acquiring degrees that have never worked in their fields, but have gotten these degrees and think that they can go to Liberia now and use their degrees to mean something. If you have not worked in your field before, you have not managed people, how can you get these big jobs in government? What are you going to do there? You're going to school for banking and financing, but you're working in a different environment. You never worked there before, but you expect to do that. The second thing under that is that most people, again, who ran the campaign, like you say, the set of skills used in campaigns are different from the set of skills needed to
Use on
govern.
the job.
And so it's a touchy thing because partisans are in high gear, and they fought hard and they won positions, and which is true. But equally so, you need to understand that governing is different. So, like I said, the mistake that the CDC government made in the beginning with the partisan, which loyalty is a good thing, but governance is a totally different thing. And so, if the incoming administration use the same mindset, then that will happen. Another thing we have to stop is that yes, the buck stop with the president. The president has the vision for his administration, but we too must have a mindset to develop our country, because no one person can develop this country, or no one sector can develop our country. So if the incoming administration appoints you as minister and you come back with the same mindset that if the previous ones were doing, you in your you high up, you can't even talk to people below you. You can't follow up with people when you sit with them and talk things. There's no follow up. The same thing will happen. So, but again, it comes from leadership. I'm impressed with what I heard last night from the incoming president. I'm impressed because I heard empathy. And the reason I'm stressing empathy, once you have empathy within yourself, you put yourself in other people's shoes and say, if I were in that shoe, how would I behave? And empathy is a good thing. It reduces your your potential, your attitude, the way you behave. Empathy brings you down to the level of everybody else, and that's why I heard in the president's elect voice, and I'm hoping to see that most of his ministers that are coming in, most of his government officials that are coming in, will have empathy enough in their neighborhoods, in the environment. One of the things that also they need to understand, as minister, if you're in your environment, in your neighborhood, you are representing the president's interest. Go outside your neighborhood, continue to talk to the people. Don't wait for 6 years before you start getting back to the people. You wind your glass up, you passing through the neighborhood, you don't speak to nobody, straight into your fence. Then after 6 years, when elections come in and you get down now, you're walking into your community. No, do that every weekend if you can. Do that whenever you have the opportunity. Once you stop running behind the president, to go and dedicate a road. If you stop running behind the president in the evening, everybody running to the president's house in the evening, no, you got work to do. I want to see ministers staying to work at 10 p.m., working hard to ensure that this country develop. It's not about 8 to 5. It doesn't work. We need people who are willing to work 12 hours a day. This country needs a lot of work. It's not about 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. It's about doing the work until the work is done. Creating small government, creating a public-private partnership to move more people into the private sector, because government should never be the largest employer. Creating benefits and incentives for people who are really working. Take most of our young people. I want to see most of our young people as director and assistant minister, so we start training these young people for the future of this country. Because most of the people are aging now. If you look at our country, we need to start bringing in the young people, but improve the private sector, bring in more investment into the country, let people have jobs, young people have jobs. Look at the deaf and mute in our country, the disabled people. How can we help those people as well? There's a lot of things. How can we improve our educational system? We have too many young people who are going to school, and the system is not good enough to prepare them for the future. Our healthcare system is bad. Our roads are bad. Our financial system needs improvement. So there's a lot of things that this incoming government has to do. And so we look forward to see the first 5 ministers that will be appointed. That will set the path to say, okay, from the finance minister, the minister of defense, the minister of state, we want to be able to see the first 5 major ministries covered, and then the foreign ministry, and then we'll be able to say, we're on the right path. But the task for the incoming president is not easy. It's an enormous task, and we should not take it for granted. I don't know if he will be able to reach us to the promised land, but at least we might see the light at the end of the tunnel to get to the promised land.
I just saw your name on number 3 on our list. I don't know.
Which list?
the first 5. Just took a cup. Yeah, but that's a key point indeed. And my takeaway from incoming President Barker from that interview is like, I think he's afraid to kind of make the mistake that the CDC George Weah led government made by just running with what they had. Not announcing, what you met. We know that there was some back and forth between him and Madame Salif, where he said he met on empty covers, and she said on the other end, no, you know the check group because I left this. But the public never knew what your turnover note was. So if we can get to the point now where Vice President Barker, incoming president, will tell the public, this is the turnover note, this is what I saw, this is what I met, and it would take investigation, and people will have to account for their stewardship, like he said. Because if you were entrusted with millions of dollars to run your sector, and today we see where we are, you need to tell the public why we are at this point, and that did not trickle down to the common people in Bokonjire, So I mean, there will be a huge work to be done, and it will start with audit. And
Cyrus, one of the things that we as a nation will have to start the mindset when it comes to system audit. I think in government, also our government, it's just like when you say audit. In anyone, look at all of our organizations outside of government, even in the diaspora. from Yola to everywhere. Once you talk about audit, it's just like you abuse somebody's mother or it's a fight. You want to catch somebody into crimes. So I think we need education around a system audit, so that the incoming administration getting out can know exactly what it is. You're right. If the CDC government had told the Liberian people that the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government left us with $10 because we've done our audit, then today they would have been vindicated because we knew that you came in with 10,000. It was not enough for you to do what you had to do. So then I can understand when you harmonize people's salary because now we know what was there. And so if the incoming administration make the same mistake, the Liberian people will hold them accountable as well. The CDC could say we left you with $500 billion in the bank. What would you say then? You say no, it's not true. No, you did not do an audit. We don't know what was left there, so we'll hold you accountable for what it is. So audits are not bad things. We should not see audits as bad. All of us as Liberian, it looked like audit. The word audit in the Liberian language means a bad thing. It should be a good thing so that we all can start learning. I'm not holding anybody. I just saying all of us got to start taking audit as a good thing so that we have system audits so that we can improve our systems. Maybe the reason why our systems are not improved is because we don't have audits to see what is working and what is not working, and what needs to be improved. Where do we need to put more resources? We don't have these audits. So it's a good thing. And I'm hoping that we as Liberians will start seeing audits as a good thing.
For
I don't
me,
know whether you see in the comment from Emmanuel, bro. That's a very, very a good one indeed. When it comes to politicians campaigning in prose and govern in poetry, he says, meaning they say one thing doing campaign, but do quite the opposite. Why in leadership, most of JMB's talk simply Vlad in the Liberian parlance, simply Vlad, which means that just free talk. But we're gonna hold him by what he's saying. I'm happy that what he said during the campaign is what he's still running with. Like I listened to him repeating himself that in his first 100 days, days there will be no car stock in the mud across Liberia. I'm looking forward to that, and that's something that Liberians will hold, incoming President Boyka strongly to, and these campaign messages, go on the days that people just speak or make these huge, public pronouncements that, it will surprise you to note that things from 2017 campaign, those videos, those comments, they were brought back. Technology makes it easy. We continue to remind, the incoming government, this was your mantra on which you campaign with the people and got, the over 20,000 votes margin to be declared president of the Republic of Liberia. And the Liberian people are looking out to see what you're going to do. I know the expectations are so high, but it's based on the kind of spending that the government is going to start with. That will tell the people that, a government official cannot change a 60, $50,000 car every budget period or after every budget period and expect the school there in Weah district to have benches or students will have a comfortable place to sit. A government official cannot be earning over $15,000, $500,000 scratch car, several gallons of gasoline, and then expect for the newly constructed Emirate Hospital in Bapulu County to have drugs regularly. Like he said, the building is not just a hospital or clinic, but what are you keeping in the facility to keep it running? Should people now cross the street from JFK and go to a private run pharmacy to buy medication when the pharmacy in JFK can be stuck with medication on the expense of government because we save from salaries, from other expenses that are not necessary? That's the point we should be looking at. That's the way we should focus right now. And one huge fight I believe the Boyka's administration will have, and it will take a lot of negotiation, Jackson, will be those 103 people sitting on Capitol Hills. That's where a lot of our issues come from. Like you listen to Yeke Koluba, all of the problems are starting from over there.
And I agree.
How many lawmakers will stand up to a minister and say, I allotted, this amount of money for a school in Riverside, and you coming back for another appropriation? Where's your budget performance report? Are these lawmakers looking at budget performance reports that the monies that are being allotted to them through the budget, the envelope of the country on our taxpayers? What are you doing? Are you performing, making sure that those monies are used for the intended purpose? Are those appropriations transcending to the lives of the people? These are the things our people will need to question their lawmakers. These people have constituents break that they need to go every year. Most of them, soon the legislature is closed. They are on the plane coming to America, going to other parts of the world. That's why we see in our country, almost every election, there is a new swift in the faces that are coming back because they used 5 years or 4 years on themselves and used the 1 year or 2 years to come back to the people. And then the village champion that is there while you are away flying private jets, flying first class and all of that, is the next person the people will believe in. Trust me, if these things cannot start to change, it will give any administration problem, and the president will have to stand up to these people, veto some things if it costs for them to override them. Let the record be there. I did not see in the 6 years under President Weah that the legislature even voted to kind of veto something. Overturn or veto or so, because it was a free ride. That's where this entire speaker race, everybody thinking whether there should be a speaker or a leadership of the legislature that will be so friendly with the government that when the wrong things are done, they will sit there and just let it happen. Or will there be a legislature from the unity party as a speaker or deputy speaker or chair on an executive, rule orders and administration? You are seeking first the interest of the people who elected you in your district, and not just what your president wants or what you think is right for you and your leadership. So these are things, and I believe that will be a major challenge to the broadcast administration. Those people sitting on Capitol Hills.
But one of the things too, though, since 1985, I think we've matured as a people in terms of our elections, and it is unfortunate that anybody coming into government now think that the Liberian people still in the same mindset that we were in long time ago will be making mistake. Times have changed. We have internet now, and Liberia is never going to be the same. So it is sad for those coming in government official that it stops here now. That the people are serious about it. The other aspect of that is that President-elect has been in the Senate. He was there for 12 years as as vice president, and so he understands the working of the Senate and the House. You're right. I think the problem lies when you hear Representative Yega Koloba say, "Let's audit ourselves." He always say we are the problem, and so I will agree with you that that way our problem lies as well. One of the things that Liberians will have to start doing is to people within the districts. We need to start holding these people accountable. Some people don't even go back to their districts until election time, or maybe once in the blue moon. I will hope that these people who are coming now will start looking at going home. If you are a representative, or if you president, a minister, and you come from Grand Bassa County, on the weekend you should be going home to Grand Bassa and trying to find. That's how the country will develop. If you own a farm in Bassa and you're there, you will want good roads to be on your farm. You will want electricity on your farm. So we're helping to develop the country by everybody going home on Friday and coming back to work on Sunday. But to agree with you, Cyrus, is the fact that the House of Representatives and the Senate is where most of our problem begin from. We need people of integrity to stand. Just because you're from the Unity Party and you know that this is not going to benefit your district, speak about it and talk about it, because your first loyalty is to the country, but you got elected by a group of people. And these people also got to understand, I don't know if our constitution provides for removal. So some people feel that I'm there for 9 years and I'm just going to stay there for 9 years. But even if we got the votes to move you and your colleagues did not move you, would do it again and do it again, they will get tired. So then we'll put pressure on them to function. But our district too, the people in those districts got to start forcing these lawmakers to listen. And I think over the years we have not done that, but I think the 55th legislature will have a different time. Liberians are beginning to understand. The young people now, they are hungry, they want more. And so Liberia will never be the same. So the people coming in now will have to understand that you either do it in the best interest of us, or you get out. And so I don't think this government has a free ride. They got 6 years, or they will be booted out.
Yeah, you either you lead or you leave. That's the new mandate from the people. But guys, it is Friday, and it's good to be here. I think you see behind me, it's Christmas season, and that's how Waterside looks down down Waterside.
Yeah, I want to be home, my man. That's part I enjoy. Being home, and the car horns and people
Mhm.
all over
Yeah,
the
so
place.
we all got to chase the holidays feelings. That there are different thinking. People feel that it's not a good Christmas. Some people feel Papa is not coming home, and it depends on where you find yourself. But it was good being here with you guys. Thanks for holding it down during the week. I'm hoping to get some adjustments to be as regular as possible. But Jackson, it's good that you can come on and regularly help handle what's going on, and we hope that our public out there will continue to follow us. Thank you so kindly, guys.
Okay, let's take a break from our sponsor. We'll come back. We're looking at Christmas. See the West under the George Weah leadership are the best Christmas. And Papa has not come to your home yet since government has not issued payment for civil servant salary. Let's take a word from our sponsor, the Park Liquor Allied.
Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or ride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference.
Hi, my name is Dr. Kent. Welcome to Brooklyn Chiropractic. Come to Brooklyn Chiropractic if you're having any back or neck pain. Especially, we specialize in treating people in auto and work-related injuries. So we've been established here in Brooklyn Center for the last 14 years. And one of the pleasures that I have is helping out in the community. We've sponsored a lot of events throughout the years in the community, and we really appreciate being a part of the community. So if you're experiencing any pain, give us a try. If you want a drug-free way to get better. Thank you.
Indeed, thanks to our sponsor, Park Liquor Allied and the Brooklyn Chiropractic Institution for always supporting the Diaspora Talk. If you have your business, you can also sponsor this program, the Diaspora Talk. And don't forget, the Nathan Charles Insurance Agency has affordable, fast, and reliable insurance for your auto, home, and businesses. You can call us 816-433-979. And we have affordable airline tickets if you are traveling to Liberia or any part of the world. You can call us and we can provide you affordable tickets to travel as well. And we also do taxes. Tax season is just approaching, and we can help you minimize some of your deductibles on your 2023 tax return. Call us for consultation as well. The numbers on the screen, 816-433-979. Indeed, this is how we do it. KMTV, we have t-shirts made, custom-made t-shirts. It's just $20, $50 jersey as well. You can put yourself in some beautiful outfit. As you look behind me, and you see the Christmas sweaters and t-shirts are out. You can also contribute to that t-shirt and get yourself one to wear during this festive season, or probably buy for somebody. The Joseph Human Boycott team, we have t-shirts and jersey here for your candidate. You can also contact us and help us support our business and make yourself feel good. Drinking some nice coffee from this mug or wearing this outfit. Jackson George is doing his own coffee break.
Coffee break. What my own mug, my man? You need to give me my own mug.
Exactly. Let's take this few come. We'll come back. We'll talk about what's Christmas or best Christmas under the George Weah regime.
His Excellency President Dr. George Weah connects 130,000 households or 780,000 people to the LEC. That today we can see light all around the place. We call him Dagna Melasi. Infrastructure and roads. President, we have built more than 233 kilometers of primary roads since 2018. His Excellency President Dr. George Weah is the first president to connect Ganta to have a paved road. His Excellency President Dr. George Weah constructed more than 160 kilometers of our community roads. Commenced construction of the Ara Highway, agriculture and forestry. His Excellency President Dr. George Weah is prepared to pay agriculture grant to up to 60,000 farmers. His Excellency completed more than 200 kilometers of feeder roads to strengthen agriculture, social inclusion and traditional governments. His Excellency constructed more than 20 new markets building for our mothers across the 15 counties.
That's during the campaign there, a young kid, commending George Weah for all of the developments he has taken over Liberia. But now this the main issue in current day reality, this is unprecedented. That Civil 7 has not taken pay over 5 million United States dollars in civil service salary for this time. They cannot get it to support their family during the festive season. The entire Liberia is upside down financially, and people are hustling. They are more sellers, according to reports from Liberia, than buyers. People cannot afford to look in the family eyes to tell them what they will provide for them. Jackson George, what do you make of the news?
Listening to that young man speaking, you wonder why the information ministry, the public relation, I don't think in the 6 years they did a good job in selling some of the many things that the government did. And I think that's again one of the things that hurt the CDC government in terms of on a daily basis selling to the Liberian people the things that they've done. I don't think a good job was done. Even though they did some things, people will still be asking where are those things. So I always say the people that the president hired to do some of this work did not do the work. Most of them were running behind the president all the time, so they had no time to do the work. Which some of the box stopped with the president too, because they were not functioning. So that until you sit in that chair, you have no idea the complexity of government functions. In terms of the payment of the civil 7, I think it's unfortunate that they have not taken pay. Christmas will be difficult for them. I'm hoping that they will take pay. Government will find a way to pay them because most of those people need food on the table as well. Now, Nathan, if you look at apart from if there were no all of these sanctions were not on government officials, right? And the government was struggling to say we're struggling. We have all of these. We don't have money to pay. People would definitely understand. But the way in which government officials amass wealth, and we hearing, it's unfortunate, and that's why I talk about the empathy. Because if you had the empathy, you will understand that if we don't pay government, we don't pay civil servants, then we ourselves don't need pay, and then we all can understand that. But we do know that ministers' Christmas will be good, their tables will be filled, and some people will argue and say these people are ministers, they make a lot of money. The very reason why the civil servants don't make a lot of money, that is the very reason why we should pay them, because we know they don't make a lot of money. And that way the empathy falls in for me, that we must be our brother's keeper. We must care about the people who work and protect our nation. Look at police officers. You know, I always talk about police officers because these are the people who we expect more of, but they are the least paid. They are the least respected people. They don't get paid. They are in our. We expect them to come in and as law enforcement and make things happen when we need them, and yet we totally disrespect them as a as a nation. You know, the military. We expect that if our borders were attacked today, that the military will go in there and put themselves on online to get killed. But yet we do little for them. You know, the first responders, our nurses and our doctors, and all of these people who are first responders. We expect if there was a earthquake or something happening in Liberia, we expect those people, fire service, all those people, we expect that they would do well. But we do not put enough resources in the pocket to do the work. You know, and so Christmas is comes once a year. We knew Christmas was coming. As a government, we should prepare for Christmas, for July 26th, for all of these major holidays that are coming, because we know that these families will need to feed their families too. But yet we did not. So again, government is complex, compound complex. Behind the scene, there's a lot of things that are happening. But when you hear about corruption and other things, then it takes away all of the other things that were happening. So even if you want to give credit and say is this compound complex, that they are facing difficult times, but when you hear about this corruption, I guess you can take $5 million from the finance minister and bring it back into government and pay those people. You know. But again, we just hearing these are all allegations.
Yeah, but the thing is, Mr. George, why as a leader, that's your tax to pay people who work for you. So why will you sit down? Only because you lose election, so you will suffer the people for that getting the pay? Is this a payback from the George Weah regime? This is the festive season. The people are entitled to the pay. They are not begging. It is time that they have that as a responsible government or people who
Yeah,
lead
but,
the
but
government. You
if
should
it was
have
just a, if it
empathy.
was just the first time that civil servant were not paid, then you could say because he didn't win the election, so he'll target him. But civil servants sometimes have not been paid over the years, and then they try to catch up, even in past government. So I don't think it's a way of punishing the Liberian people. I just think there's nothing there to pay these
They,
people.
they boasted that there was a lot of money and they have
Well, again,
during
remember,
election
I've
time.
always said that the people that the president brought in to help him do this work, they did not do the work. They were not sincere. I think for the presidency, even if the president didn't have on shirt, they will all come in and know that the president didn't have on shirt. Instead of telling the president he didn't have on shirt, they will say, "Mr. President, you got on shirt, but good, you're strong." And that's why he has surrounding him. And so it was difficult for him to get real facts, for him to get real information. And today it hurt him more than it's helped him. So that's the problem that he had. If you have a finance minister who's telling you that we're selling current to Ivory Coast, we got $7.8 million, $800 million budget. You know, we got surplus. If you trust and believe in him, then you trust and believe in him. And I think the president did, only to find out that all of these things were not true. Again, the incoming administration is not immune to some of these things that the outgoing administration is dealing with. You see that people are not being paid. The incoming administration is going to absorb this deficit, and we have to deal with it on January 23rd. You cannot be blaming the outgoing administration and say we can't pay you because the outgoing administration did not pay you. No, we voted you into office to deal with this problem. You told us you can deal with it. That's why we voted you into office. So we expect that even though we're not expecting a rapid response to the problem, but we expect that this government coming in will be able to deal with some of these problems. Again, it is my hope that the outgoing government will pay people for the work that they've done. $5 million is not much money to deal with civil servants pay. If it's only $5 million, as a government, that's small money. They should be able to pay civil servants at least so those people can have Christmas for their families. Again, I've always said, Nathan, until the leadership has fear for the population, for the masses, we will not improve. Because if you know you're going to be having chicken and bacon as minister, enjoying yourself on Christmas Day, there's no reason why the civil servants could not have chicken or dry rice on the table as well. And that's how I see government. That's how I see things. Because again, I have a liberal mindset. I believe if I must eat chicken, then somebody can eat boning as well. They might not be able to afford boning, but they must be able to afford something to eat. That way I'm coming from. And so when I say I hear the empathy in the president-elect voice is what I'm talking about. The fact that you can even sit down and say the people who are caring for the sick, they themselves need to be careful. It tells me that he has empathy, and I'm looking to see that empathy extend into government, into all of the government agencies and functionalities, functional aspect of life.
Indeed, we hope that things change for this Christmas. But the news is civil servant will not be taking pay for the Christmas, and this is
They said that civil servants are not going to be taking pay, or
they have not received pay yet. Today is Friday, Monday is holiday, so for the festive season,
it's unfortunate. Again, election has consequences. Election has consequences when you vote and put people in power. Sometimes those are the consequences that happen. But it is unfortunate. I think now that they're doing all of their notes, some of the reason why they have not paid civil servants will be part of the turnover notes. And then this new incoming government will learn from. But this new incoming government has a lot of work to do. They have to get on the ground running. It has, it's a difficult task for President-elect Boyka and his team. It's not going to be easy to lift Liberia from where it is. I think the outgoing administration did its part. Beginning January 23rd, you cannot be going backwards and saying, we didn't do this, they didn't do this. It will be your responsibility. The people saw that, they elected you. It's your responsibility. So take responsibility for moving forward. Prosecute those who are corrupt. If you feel that they were corrupt, find some of that money and bring it back to our country and use it to pay civil servants. We need all the funds that we can gather. But again, it is unfortunate that people are not going to take pay. There's no reason why they can't take pay. I always say Liberia has more resources than the population we have. It's just pure mismanagement, corruption that has led us to the point where we cannot take care of, we cannot be our brother's keeper. And so I think from what I heard from the incoming president, corruption will be minimized to the maximum, because this president is willing. He has the empathy. He has the direction. And so I'm hoping that it works for us.
For me, I went to see, because I've observed previous administration said all of these things, from justice relief, corruption will be public enemy number one. Just reacting
again,
I'm not moved by these comments.
It's very difficult.
Rhetoric.
Nobody should sit down and think that government is it's an easy fix to all of the problem. Government is complicated, is complex. If the president-elect sits in the office and he does not have people who can come to him and tell him the truth, if all is a comeback here, the foreign ministers don't want to report the finance minister don't want to tell the president the truth, then he will have the same thing, because he's just one person. His chief of staff, the Ministry of State, all of these people, the briefing in the morning for the president should be getting up by 4 o'clock in the morning, reading all the newspapers, getting his briefing before 8 o'clock in the morning. Once he gets all his briefing, he calls all of these people together and find out what's happening in these ministries and agencies. It's a lot of work. So if you don't have somebody who can navigate all of these complex areas, then it will be the same thing, because then you will only hear things are going good. If you're always in meetings and you're not watching the news or reading the papers and understanding, because the president will be able to read all of the newspaper in the morning, or look at all of the newspaper, because that way he's going to get some of his information not from his ministers. He got to look at all of the media, the major media institutions, and find out what they're talking about, the trend in the country. He got to listen to all of that. Moreover, he has to listen to people within his government. Sometimes you just go to the ministry and ask questions. He must have a government where the employees can be able to speak and not just sit down. So it's going to be a difficult thing. Myself, we all waiting to see how the first 100 days will be, and then we understand the direction that the president-elect and his team going through. But again, nobody should sit here and say it was easy for this last 6 years. I don't know if they had the sophistication and other thing to make it work. But again, the finance minister made a lot of fool out of all of us by saying that we had surplus when in fact we didn't. So I think he needs to. I mean, they only got a few days to leave power, so the incoming administration would not have to deal with this problem. It would be their problem, inheriting this problem, to be able to pay Civil 7. Again, would it be easy to pay Civil 7 on time? I understand that they are hiring more people now than they are than people that are on the books. So that's going to increase government salary. So the incoming government will have to deal with all of the influx of people being hired at the 11th hour. How to deal with that, it would be another problem.
Okay, Jackson, Josh, our panelists on the Diaspora talk. Let's go over to this other topic. We understand that the Liberia Business Association, which you are also heading, will be doing a visit in Iowa. Can you just, in under 5 minutes, summarize what the
Well,
activity?
we will be in Iowa tomorrow. The Liberian minority businesses in Iowa invited us. We're gonna get a partnership with them, organize the group in Iowa so that we can network with them, share best practices, and leverage our collective potential. So we'll be in Iowa tomorrow, meeting up with Liberian and minority businesses down there. We'll be rolling out what we do as Liberian Business Association in the diaspora. We'll be telling them what we've done over the years, and the benefit they can get from the state, because every state has its own small business program that they can benefit from as minority businesses in the state. So we'll be telling them some of the things we've done in Minnesota here. The next place we're looking at is Atlanta and Ohio. So with this coming year, we'll be expanding all over. We've had a central system, but we want to be able to expand where Iowa will have its own administrator and administration and deal with its own business growth and development. So that's what we're going to be doing in Iowa tomorrow. It is set for 7 p.m. So for all the businesses in Iowa, please come up, support the cause. We as Liberian businesses in the diaspora, we need to take care of ourselves. We need a network. But at the end of the day, we need to help our homeland as well. How we gonna support, how we pool our resources to be able to invest into Liberia is important for the economic growth and development of our homeland. And that is why we are pushing forward and wanting a public-private partnership from government to the diaspora. There's no country that can develop without diaspora intervention. If you know that we spend a lot of money already in terms of remittances into Liberia, the question is, can we transform our remittances into economic development, apart from social services? So that's some of the things that we're going to be discussing, how we can partner in the diaspora, but equally so how we can help our homeland bring major development to our homeland. I was having a discussion with one person. You have Ghanaian companies in Liberia mining gold and diamond. Why can't 25 of us come together, form our own company and mine gold and diamond as well? There's nothing wrong with that. But we have left that with foreigners and other people to do that. We need to pull our resources together and take corporations into Liberia and mine some of those things. Again, if we did it on ourselves, most of that money would stay in Liberia as compared to foreigner mining and taking the profit. Oh, we take our profit out of here and send it to Liberia. No different from what they're doing in Liberia, taking it out of Liberia and sending it home. So if we come together and have a mining company, register a mining company, go through the right process and have a mining corporation in Liberia, one, we are Liberians. Two, helping our homeland. But those are things that we need to start thinking on doing as compared to individual going home and trying to do it on your own and getting all of these a tough time in Liberia. One of the things I think would develop Liberia, Nathan, is the fact if 25 of us come together to carry a corporation, and let's take for instance one government official want to slow us down or stop us, it's 25 of us. Liberia is a small niche country. We got 25 people calling to make sure that why this one person is stopping us. But if you just one person went home, they can step on you easily. They can frustrate you, and you come back here and sit down. But 25 of us, business people, carrying a corporation into Liberia, and one person trying to stay in our way, we all got connections. We all would put our resources to bear and remove that person from our way. So we need help. We need help. We need that public-private partnership. We need to strengthen the institutions, like Chamber of Commerce in Liberia, LIBA Liberia, they're there. There are other small business organizations that are there, the Marketing Association. There are so many other institutions that are in there, but we in the diaspora will have to organize ourselves, strengthen our own institution from the diaspora to be able to have an impact in Liberia.
Indeed, to have an impact in Liberia, Jackson Josh, let's play you some old-time music with one of Liberia's famous musicians. He did this on a live band. I show you record this song, Jackson Josh. Even though Christmas is not all rap and rules internationally.
I hope I'm young enough.
You're old enough to know this artist. So let me see how well you remember this artist. You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Copyright the music playing. We do not own copyright the music playing.
So I say, we were fun we were set for each and everyone. Tell everyone to be here. We'll see the ginger with the 2 horsepower. We'll see, we'll know who. Like this one gonna do. We'll find out the truth. Set for government, set for government, set for man, set for government, so we'll know who we who.
Jackson Josh.
You remember back then we had Malawala Balawala, and on Saturdays, man, we used to run to the TV. We used to. I mean, it was a series program that was just. It was something that was great back then. When I tell people about on Saturdays, TV used to come on at a certain point. It started with black and white, and we had Stingray, and somebody we like Stingray. We had 10-speed brown shoes. We had Love Boat that used to come on. We had the Jeffersons, the Jefferson, and then we had all of these Sanford and Son. Back then it was great. I mean, TV used to come on at a certain time, and then 6 o'clock in the evening it comes on. But those are days when the country was different. Now we have a youthful population. We have 14 years civil war. Most of the infrastructure destroyed. Systems were destroyed. The young people are now parent of the older people. The parents can more or less control their children as we were. It took a village back then to grow a child. Everybody whip us as compared to now. You couldn't go to your next door neighbor and misbehave. You got whipped. Even if you're misbehaving in public and your neighbor saw you, you come home running and you think they're going to report you, And so those were the days that Liberia were different. I think the war destroyed most of our traditions, and something that would take us time to build. Again, I'm hoping that Liberians will start learning how to grow a community or village. Once we start being our brother's keeper, caring for each other, put away the pettiness that we all have, and look at being patriot to our country. I think that will help us go a long way. But yes, Balawala was a major part of our growth.
Indeed, and his songs resonate with everyone.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
just enjoy that. It was one of my favorite series then.
okay, Jackson Josh, thanks so much for joining us on the Diaspora Talk. And when we come your way over the weekend, we look at more issues. Hopefully, Diaspora Talk will be doing some giveaway on Christmas Day and just to help our people make them smile. So keep glued to the Diaspora Talk. We'll be giving us some prizes to just our viewers in Liberia just to make the day good. Thanks so much, Jackson Josh, and have yourself a wonderful time from on River. Any parting comment?
Well, again, Christmas is here. We wish Liberians in Liberia and around the world Merry Christmas. We know that our country, we all have a stake in that country. We all want to see a developed Liberia. And so the path to the path we all want to see, we all have different paths to development. But at the end of the day, it's based on respect. We need to respect each other. One of the ways I see respect is not just insulting. Respect is when we care for each other and make sure that the things that are should be given to each other, we give in to each other. We need to respect our police officers. We need to respect our military. We need to respect our first responders. And those respect means if we have to pay them, let's pay them on time. Let's increase the salary. Let's give them values. Let's bring some respect to them so that they can care for us. And that's where I am. We need better schools. We need better healthcare system. We need better roads. We need better pump on water. We need better infrastructure. And all of these things take all of us to do. We need a strong private sector. We will be asking this government to partner with the private sector and pay attention to the private sector so that the private sector can grow. There's a liberalization policy. We will be asking this government to hold this government accountable to the liberalization policy. All those who are fronting for other people and have Liberians not into those commodities that were assigned to Liberian, the government should enforce it. And so there's a lot of things that we will be working with this government to do, but we want to see Liberians driving our economy. We want to see Liberians taking bold steps to invest in Liberia. So that those are some of the things that we're going to be advocating for and fighting for. I think Liberians can do it. I think we're capable. I think we have the resources at home and abroad to make it work. It's just a matter of creating the playing field, creating the enabling environment for Liberians to invest into Liberia, and we shouldn't be afraid to invest into our homeland. I think those who are on the fringes holding back for whatever reasons they should not. We should invest into Liberia. People have invested into Enron and other things, and lost a lot of money, and they're still investing. So we shouldn't be afraid. So for me, I like to see this incoming government pay attention to the private sector, invest immensely into the private sector, create programs to provide incentives for the private sector so that we hire more people, get the young people off the street, give them jobs so that they can feel valuable and feel as they are Liberian and they're part of the process as well.
Jackson Josh always say, if you're not on the table,
you're on the menu.
We see, we know. I would say for Ghana,
if you're not on the table, Nathan, you're on the menu. And I think most people have sat down and they've been on the menu too long, and it's time for us to get on the table and fight for this country, so that the young people that are coming up, we have a direction, we have something to fight for, we have something to live for in this country that we all love.
Indeed. Thanks so much, Jackson Josh. Have yourself a wonderful time. Hopefully on the weekend we'll be here to discuss more on the Diaspora Talk and make our people smile for the Christmas. I hope we can partner with Park Liquor Outlet just to chunk some cash out to somebody there in
maybe we should.
On the weekend.
Maybe we should. Let's discuss it after the program.
Yeah. So we leave you with famous Balawala Marawala song. So you enjoy yourself on this Friday. I know it's a tough time in Liberia, but this is life. You have to move up. Then go in the depressive mood. Have yourself a wonderful time. Joanne Prassier could not make it. Cyrus McGill, the lead presenters. Our presenter was here briefly discussing all of things in Liberia. We'll look at the issue with the case involving former Chief Justice Laura Moses Scott, the guilty verdict. We also look at the issue of our Christmas, civil servants not taking pay, and how can we as people in Liberia fight corruption and battle bad governance under Joseph Human leadership. He spoke with the Voice of America. Have yourself a wonderful day. Let's take this song from Manawara Balawara. Remember, we don't own copyright to this music, and it's a raw talent here. We're taking you back to those days.
Of Liberia hit the news.
What is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
The Liberian communities in the diasporas are not left out. That's why Diaspora's Talk is back on your screens on GMTV.
In fact, the United Party is not cohesive.
Be it social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Join Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV Facebook and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues, blending the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
The Liberian Business Association in the diaspora should be used as a vehicle for economic development in Liberia because no country can develop without a diaspora impact.
For sponsorship, call some numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com. Diaspora Talk.